LA's drug war over medical marijuana. It's legal here, but hardly welcomed by many communities. David Nassiri, what's the story?
Rick, as you noted, Californians have had the right to obtain and use marijuana for medical purposes since the passage of Prop 215 in 1996. The problem was it really didn't give any direction on the operation of storefronts, roughly about 1,000 of them in LA. So fast forward to this past July, when the state appeals court struck down an LA county ban on dispensaries, saying state law trumps county law. But then on July 24th, the LA City Council voted unanimously to shut down the dispensaries, citing an increase in crime in those neighborhoods. Drive around Los Angeles, it seems pot shops are everywhere you look. Hollywood, downtown, the Valley, South Central, Venice Beach.
Do not hesitate to leave your Medicaid. Walk on in.
Here on the Venice Boardwalk, medical marijuana collectives try to reel in customers and sell their product to any passerby, much like any other street vendor out here, trying to sell folks on tattoos or t-shirts. But the profit margin on pot is substantially higher. City leaders say many of these dispensaries rake in hundreds of thousands of dollars a year. LA City Councilman Jose Huizar acknowledges that some sick people could benefit from medical marijuana. However, he says the majority are recreational pot users just taking advantage of the system.
Medical marijuana. You know you wanna.
Councilman Huizar says these dispensaries are a sham, and that's why the city of Los Angeles has declared war on medical marijuana. City officials say they mean business this time around. Huizar pushed legislation earlier this year to ban all pot shops in LA. In July, the city council unanimously voted to shut them down, and now these notices are going out to the pot shops, telling owners they have until September 6th to close. Huizar claims the pot shops are raging out of control and causing all sorts of problems for neighborhoods.
They proliferate so quickly because these are smart people involved in the dispensary business that it's a business to them. The majority of people who are involved in them, it's a business. It's not that they want to provide medicinal medication to patients. People want to make a quick buck, and they see the confusion that exists.
Huizar says the city tried all sorts of ways to work with the collectives over the years and curtail some of the activity to no avail. Huizar says the pot shops continue to take advantage of gray area in a vague state law regarding the use of medical marijuana.
The state law says this: you could form a collective and you could grow your own. It didn't say form a dispensary. It never used the word dispensary, a storefront dispensary where people could come in and get it and go back. Those are sales. Those are illegal. The DA views it that way as well.
The city says it had no choice but to ban the dispensaries.
We're not doing anything illegally by closing them down. Now, different appellate courts in the state of California have different opinions, and that's why it's important for the Supreme Court to decide whether what we're doing is allowable.
Southern California medical marijuana attorney Damian Nassiri says what the city is doing is illegal.
The law says that qualified patients can collectively cultivate medical marijuana for medical purposes. Bans have been declared unconstitutional. In fact, the appellate court in the county of Los Angeles just declared that the countywide ban is unconstitutional.
And that's why Nassiri says he's filing a lawsuit on behalf of multiple patients of a medical marijuana collective in South Central LA.
Many collectives are now gathering their forces and getting ready to file lawsuits against the city in order to obtain injunctive relief and prevent the city from shutting these collectives down.
Nassiri says it's wrong for the city to ban these shops when so many sick people rely on marijuana just to get through each day.
Medical marijuana establishments are important because there's a lot of seriously ill patients that reside in this county and in this city that need this medicine and that have tried other medicines, stronger painkillers, opiates, Oxycontins, and all these things do is make them addicted and drive their lives into ruin.
Councilman, what do you say to the folks who are suffering from debilitating, catastrophic illnesses, the pain, the anxiety, the cancer, whatever the case may be?
I sympathize with the patients. I sympathize with the cancer patients. I sympathize with people with AIDS. I want them to have access. But we cannot put that interest ahead of hundreds of thousands of other people's interests in local neighborhoods.
If you're really about protecting seriously ill people, why not simply try to advocate for better guidelines to protect these people you represent rather than giving recreational users a free hand at the marijuana?
Well, we feel that the regulations that are out right now are on point. The law clearly states what collectives can and cannot do, and what the city needs to do and law enforcement needs to do is go after the people that are violating the existing laws that are in place right now.
And the pot shops are fighting back against the city's ban. The Patient Care Alliance has filed a lawsuit seeking an injunction to stop the city from going through with its plan to close dispensaries. And medical marijuana advocates are saying they'll even go to the ballot box in their effort to stop the ban. A final note, the City Council has asked its lawyers to draw up language that would allow almost 200 pot shops, those that have registered with the city, to keep operating, Rick.
Okay, well, David, I know you did a very thorough job on this report and personally visited a lot of these pot clinics. Is that right?
That is right, and your stash is upstairs in your desk.
Okay, thank you. But listen, I see I mean, a pot shop on Venice Beach. I mean, how's that hurting the neighborhood? I figured half the people on Venice Beach are high already.
Yeah, well, if you're talking about crime stats, I did talk to Councilman Huizar about that because, of course, he's saying he believes there is an increase in crime. He represents the downtown area, the Boyle Heights area, and he feels that his constituents, his neighborhood is saying, look, there's broken car lights, there's broken lamps, there's broken street lights. He feels that there is a criminal element. Folks are just out there getting high, and it is kind of a sham. He does acknowledge that certainly certain people need this marijuana, but that's a select few. And it's interesting because even in South County, when I covered these stories a couple of years ago in the city of Lake Forest, the Mayor Herzog was also saying there's crime running rampant because of that. There are, though, no really true statistics to back that up. It's just the word of these politicians.
Yeah, I mean, Huizar's talking about their fast buck artists. Well, they're businesses, right? I mean, are there actually numbers? I mean, if people are breaking in the cars, the cops should be arresting them. If people are wandering around high, they're supposed to be arrested. Are there any numbers that really indicate that these pot shops are causing an increase in crime?
I haven't seen any specific numbers. Again, I just think it's the word that's out on the street that is getting back to these city council members or to the mayors. Certainly the advocates are saying that this is completely wrong. And even critics of the city council that are not necessarily for medical marijuana, some are telling me that, well, some of the council members are politicizing the issue to further their career. They want to be tough on crime. But whatever the case may be, Huizar is sticking to his guns and saying, look, neighbors and neighborhoods aren't safe. People are reporting to me there is an increase in crime. And he says, we have to stop this. We can't wait for them to figure out this state law.
Well, medical marijuana, maybe that was a good half step, but it seems like eventually it's going to come down to you're either for marijuana or not, and we're going to have to decide it somehow and then probably fight it out with the federal government too. Well, anyway, thanks, David.